we're going to take a look at surveys. Surveys can be used in terms of technology, whether you're thinking about how you're sending them out to people or how you're gathering that information and really decoding it. Surveys are really important here in the state of Massachusetts if you're participating in QRIS, because a staff survey and a family survey are required to be level 3 in the out of school time section of QRIS. Also, surveys are a fantastic way to get more information. Here at BOSSnet, we utilize surveys a lot, whether that's asking people if you utilized our curriculum, how did it go, were you impressed by, and asking specific questions about the different lessons. We also have an evaluation at the end of each of our courses, and while a lot of that is measuring your learning objectives, we also include pieces in there asking how we did. Surveys are great for getting people's opinions, and when they're anonymous, sometimes people are more honest. But there are differences between good surveys and bad surveys. So we're going to look through a couple great resources that have listed some really common ways to make sure that your survey is a good survey. So we're going to take a quick crash course in survey development. First, we have a crash course in survey development from Constant Contact. I really like this list because I think it makes a lot of sense and it's very clear. First thing you need to do is make sure that when you're creating your survey, you have a single, well-defined objective. Ask yourself, why are we asking people to fill out this information? What information are we trying to get? Why are we doing this? So I would encourage you to even write down for yourself what is your well-defined objective so that you can always keep it in mind. Surveys should also be short. I know that I've personally agreed to fill out a survey, and once I'm about 20 questions in, I'm not interested anymore. So keep it as short as you can so that you're getting the information you need, but also doing it quickly. Also, make sure to use primarily close-ended questions. Sometimes it's good to have open-ended questions such as, what does your child most enjoy about coming to after-school program? That can be great, but it shouldn't just be a long list of open-ended questions. That gets very tiring. Make sure you're asking one thing per question. Otherwise, it gets a little confusing. If you're thinking of asking, do your kids like snack and free time? Yes or no? That's not a great question because the answer could be, well, yes, they like the snack at the program, but during free time, they struggle because they don't have the friendships necessarily yet. Or it could be vice versa. So only ask one thing at a time. Also, make sure that you're avoiding try to avoid using extremes. If you're asking, does your child come home saying that they enjoyed their time at the program? If you say never or always, those are big extremes, and so you don't want to bias the answers. You can say almost always or not usually with some variations in the middle, but don't use that never or always extreme because that can bias responses. Also, limit your number of required answers. It's important to have some that you need to know, but if you're going to have a lot of questions, and it's okay if people pick and choose what they ask, definitely go that route. Don't want to have a ton of questions. It's part of keeping it short. Also, think about your question order. You want to start with the easiest question, and then towards the bottom is maybe where you would add your open-ended or more difficult questions. And there should also be a reasonable flow. So something where similar topics are all used together. If you're going to have 2 pages and they will change a little bit from start to finish, maybe the start is more about the administrative take on the program and the end is more focused on the programmatic side, don't disperse those questions mixed together. Make sure that there's some sort of logical flow and that the different topics are more separated. Once you make your survey, definitely take the time to test it. Send it to anybody that you trust. It could be, if it's a parent survey, just ask a couple parents who you know well and ask them to read over it and fill it out first. Or if it's a staff survey, ask people in your program to look at it quickly. But test the survey to make sure that there's not any, difficult questions, anything they misunderstand, or that it takes too long to fill out and they're not interested in completing it. It's always great to start at the top saying, please take this quick 5-minute survey. Please answer these 10 questions so people understand that it is meant to be quick. If it is longer, make that clear up front because they'd rather know when it starts it. Also, send it to the right people. If you're asking parents of the program about their experiences, you can give it to the people who are brand new in the program, but make sure it's not just them. You want to make sure you gain a wide range and that there's an understanding there. And share the results with those who took the survey. It's really nice to know that your opinion was factored in, and it might be that when you take the survey, you decide to make a change, and tell people that. They will appreciate it and they'll be interested in knowing your reasoning behind it. All right, so then here's another list from Vertical Response, which I think also has some great ideas too. They use some of the similar ideas. We're saying make sure each question is clear and concise. So we're keeping it short, we're not having multiple answers, making it confusing. It's very understandable. Don't use acronyms. While you might ask if they feel like there's enough STEM in the program, some parents, some staff, some stakeholders might not know what STEM means. So if you want to introduce them to the acronym, make sure you're making it clear in the survey what it stands for and what it means. And never phrase questions in the negative. So saying, are you unhappy about this? If you say yes, then it's a little confusing and there's confusion there. All answers should be completely different. If you're saying to the staff, what are your favorite professional development activities at the program? And the options are in-person trainings, workshops, online trainings. My guess is that workshops and in-person trainings are similar, and you might need to clarify what the difference is to you. Make sure that you're not asking leading questions. For example, the one on the screen, we just implemented a research-based new literacy program that makes people think that they should say, oh, this is impressive, I should like it. So don't ask leading questions. Again, logical progression, starting with easiest and moving to most difficult, grouping the questions about certain topics together, and using open-ended questions sparingly. So these are all great tools to keep in mind when you're creating a survey. In terms of technology, when you're sharing surveys, SurveyMonkey and Google Forms are both fantastic free options that allow you to get responses from people online. Sometimes it's easier for them to say, oh, I got this in my email, I can take a quick break and fill it out. You're also likely to reach more people that way, just because it's quick to send out an email rather than going and passing out different forms. However, it's important to remember that some of the people you may be sharing your survey with do not have easy access to a computer or might have trouble utilizing that technology. If that's the case, it's always great to have the option of them turning in a paper copy or utilizing the one online. So always keep in mind what is best for the audience and the stakeholders that are going to be participating in the survey. And I will say that utilizing technology is great because SurveyMonkey and Google Forms will tally up the scores for you. They'll show you what percentage of people answered question 1 with yes and what percentage with question 2 no. It's a little harder when you have it in paper form. When I need to use paper form evaluations in person, if it's a lot of people and I'm going to have to keep track over a period of time, one of the things that I like to do is have a survey set up for myself. So when I come back to my desk after the training, workshop, whatever it is, then I will put in the survey responses. So that's just going down and quickly saying, all right, yes, no, 4, 5, adding whatever my answers are there. And then having SurveyMonkey or Google Forms then put together the totals for me so I can see a nice graphic representation of the different answers. So next time you're creating a survey, whether that's for your staff, for the adults, for the parents, for the kids, whoever it is, for your stakeholders, keep these different pieces in mind and you'll have a much more successful survey in terms of getting the right information, getting more information from people because you've created a easy to understand and quick survey and concise survey. And you're going to be able to think about it at the end. What do we learn here and what do we need to change?